This time on KEI Fabrication. Alright folks, why am I so excited to have this pile of rust in my garage? Hide all the women and children. Hide all the women and children. Hide all the women and children. All the grinding's done. Time to clean the garage. Well folks, I just came back from the scrapyard. So I ran up to the scrapyard. Well, we're up here at the junkyard. Well, we're back in the junkyard. Well, there it is. It's home. I'm gonna get rid of what doesn't belong and dangle the body from the chain hoist, and then we'll set that aside, get rid of the stock car chassis, and then we'll get the original frame, front end, and quick change in the shop. Here we go. Here we go again. Gotta move everything out of the way.
Holy cow, I couldn't have done that. Holy cow. All right. She's a little rough. There it is, the old B&J Special, back in the restoration mode. All right, it's in the shop. It's only just begun. We'll keep you posted on the rest of the updates. We'll find a home for that, and then we'll get going on that thing. Alright folks, why am I so excited to have this pile of rust in my garage? Well, just like everything else, the cool stuff has a story, and this car has a story that has hugely impacted my life. I grew up watching this car race, watching my father work on it. It was a team effort with some lifelong friends of my dad. That led into, after this car was retired, the son of the owner and driver of this car got interested in auto racing, and as a 14-year-old kid, I helped build and campaign those cars, and that led into crew chiefing cars as I became a little older. That inspired me to get into the fabrication and chassis building and tuning, which led to a bunch of opportunities for me in auto and motorsports, crew chiefing on some Busch Grand National North teams, but this car, as a part of my childhood, was the #1 influence in my interest in racing, and my family and friends are still the friends and that were made as a result of the beginning that this car had. You know, I was, from the time I was 2 to 6 years old, I was watching this car campaign. I sat in the grandstands between the wife of the driver and owner and my mom, and as you saw some snapshots of the photographs that on the car here as it exists, and in the pictures, the vintage pictures that I have, the name of the car was the B&J Special, and those were the initials, the first initial of my mom's name and the first initial of the owner's wife's name. So I would sit between those two in the grandstands. And one night in particular, this is an open wheel modified, so the tires were exposed, and he ran over the wheel of the leader's car while running second, and it did an end-over-end flip up over the catch fencing and actually landing on the other side, partially in the catch fencing, and I have a snapshot that I'll show you. And there's all kinds of stories that I'll elaborate on when we get to that portion of the video. So the car is an absolute disaster. It's been moved around the owner's property, in and out of hiding, probably 10 times since it was parked. It's been run into with backhoe and tow trucks and things like that. So it is really, really, really rough. I understand that, but the critical components and some of the original components like the Flemke style front end and the quick change rear end are completely intact, and this is a replacement 37 Ford frame that has had some of the suspension components installed in it as an attempt to get this car back together probably 25 years ago, and then it kind of, the brakes went on. So the frame is in really, really excellent shape. And my introductory video showing the recovery of this thing, you'll hear the owner, or you should have heard the owner talking about it. If you haven't, go back and look at that original video when this thing was retrieved. So the gentleman that owned and drove this car, again, was best friends with my dad, lifelong friends. As they retired, they traveled together, and we went racing together all the way up into the 90s. And then they retired and traveled together. So again, lifelong family friends of 70 plus years as a result of campaigning this car. So that's why it's so important to me, and I want to honor the owner and driver and trying to get this looking substantially better than it already is, so he has an opportunity to see it underway. And I want it to become part of my family's history. My sons are super excited about this because they heard the stories about this and they've seen the photographs of this, and they actually watched and participated in my racing career, traveling with me and being a really important part of my business, and just some family traditions that all really started way back when I was very, very young. So I hope to be able to share some vintage photographs of this with you, what it looked like. There's actually some pictures around, I have to find them, of me with this car parked in the yard, my brother and the son of the driver sitting in the car in my yard with my dad and the owner sitting next to it. And I want to share that with you folks. This car never won a race, and it was a top 5 car, and consistently finished in the top 10, but it was capable of running in the top 5. This style modified, and the time that this was campaigned, there was some money trickling into the sport, and guys like Bugsy Stevens, Eddie Flemke, and some of the other, Fred DeSaro, and all of those guys that were racing at the same tracks that this car was racing at, the money was funneling in, and they had better equipment, better engines and things. So this car really was capable of winning heat races and things like that. But as far as a feature race, the equipment certainly suffered a little bit in terms of being competitive just from the financial aspect of it. And there's some great stories about the components that did make it into the car, and how they scratched together the money to purchase those, to maybe take another little step towards making it more competitive. So I want you to stay tuned and follow this. It's going to be a lengthy process, obviously, so I'm asking for some patience in advance. But hopefully this will help me learn new skills, use some of my current skills, and maybe tune those up as well. And I'm really excited about this. It is really just a pile of rusting junk. If I can't salvage this body, then I'll do my best to find either panels that will help restore and replace this. The reason why it is in such bad shape is that massive wreck that you heard the driver Roger talk about, and the pictures that I'll throw up during this video. This is the body that wreck was in, and they literally just hammered it back out with sledgehammers and went back racing straight in the frame the best they could. And the car was never anywhere near as competitive as it was prior to that wreck because it was severely damaged. And that was the beginning of the retirement process of this car from racing. And the families took a break from racing until the son, as I mentioned, of this the driver and owner of this car, decided he wanted to go racing. By that time, as I said, I was like 14 years old. And it started all over again, Generation 2, right? And Generation 3, which is my kids, will be involved in working in this, and some of my family members and other friends of mine that know the history behind this car and know the people that were behind it, and they want to be a part of it as well. So more of that's to come. And I have granddaughters now, so that's 4 generations that I just want to kind of bring this back to something that is representative of what it was back in the day, and just enjoy it. So we'll stop there. It's enough rambling for me. It's kind of an introductory to the history behind this and why it's here and why I'm so excited. And I'm really looking forward to digging into this thing, knowing full well that this is very overwhelming, way beyond my skill set, and it might be wishful thinking, but we'll see. We're going to give it the good old, hopefully an A for effort anyway, to take this to the next level.
Next time on KEI Fabrication. Can you see it yet? I can.